Okay, so what I would like somebody to tell me is why the hell in your 40s, in our 40s, we are feeling so tired and in some ways uninspired. I mean, too tired to think, y'all. If that's how you're feeling right now, I understand. I got you. We're going to talk about that in this episode. Okay, so welcome back to the era of main character energy. This is a place where you have to stop counting down the years and start making the years count. I am your host and your Chief Joy Officer, Annisha Jones. The Season to Soul podcast is a space where we navigate the beautiful chaos of midlife with raw honesty, a healthy dose of humor, and a whole lot of heart. We're done with autopilots. Here, we dive into intentional growth and the art of embracing change to ensure that your life is anchored in joy and meaningful connection. So, whether you're looking to pivot in your career, reclaim your spark, or finally put yourself first, this is your toolkit for midlife. Because in this season, it's main character energy only. Let's get into the episode. Okay, guys, I'm really thankful that you're here. And tonight we're going to be talking about too damn tired. Okay, now this is something that we can take from many different angles. And generally, when we talk about being tired, the advice that's offered it could be things like, having discipline or nutrition and motivation. And all of those things work. But I wanted to really look at why it's happening. Why is it that we are feeling so tired? This is the common thing when we have conversations with my friends and the people in my age group. Everybody feels it. Everybody is feeling it. So I thought it was really important for us to get together and just figure out why it's happening and how we can help each other to move past it. So the first thing we're going to look at is why we might be feeling so tired, like too tired to think, is the fact that now we overstimulated. I mean, some of us might have toddlers. And if you don't, you might remember how it is when your kids were younger, or you might know your nephews and your nieces, right? And you know when you take them to those birthday parties and the birthday parties serve ice cream and soda and cake, and then they have like games and they're running around. And at one point, the children like they get agitated to the fact that they start moving kind of jittery, and some might even start crying. Yeah, we are the toddlers at the birthday party, but we're tired and we're overstimulated. There's too much things going on, y'all. There's social media, and social media is just a constant state right now of comparison and commentary. Yes, there's a lot of beautiful things happening on social media. I am on social media. I love social media. But at the same time, if you're not careful, there's just a whole lot going on in terms of information coming at you constantly. So apart from the fact that people are comparing themselves, and this is something we spoke about on the stage at the Afrofest, if you were there, you'd have heard a commentary on that. Apart from the comparison, there's all this extra information. There's so much people sharing their thoughts and ideas. Some of it doesn't have anything to do with you, but it's on your algorithm. You come across it and you absorb the information. Then there's images like those cruise pictures, those like after people come out to cruise. I mean, let me tell you, the most annoying thing for me is Sunday mornings when I wake up and yes, I go on social media and you just see like a whole set of nudity and people rocking back and people. Oh my God. Listen, I'm all for a good time because I go to my fest. I believe in dancing and having everything, but some of these images have been on your screen first thing in the morning. I am like, it's too much. It's too much. Like I'm paying Flow every month and I don't need to be assaulted on my phone. So I block people with the quickness. Once I see the foolishness on your social media, you get unfollowed and blocked with the quickness. I don't need that in my life. And it's all. But these things do affect us and make us overstimulated. Another thing is just the fact that we have so much information for us to process. So you have information to remember and process when you go to work. Right now, a lot of organizations, if you are in corporate, a lot of organizations are trying to be AI compliant. So you would find there's places that are upgrading their software. There's changes in their systems. There's change in the way information is processed. And it's wonderful. Change is wonderful. We all love change, especially when it's positive change. Change is supposed to make our life easier. But at the same time, it's our brain, that same brain that has to watch social media and everything else that is being used, and it can feel like a lot. Alongside what you're doing at work, there's home. So, in midlife, we're that middle generation. We're the sandwich generation, they call us, because we're in the middle of two different generations. So we have our parents that we have to take care of. We know that most of us have aging parents, so we need to pay attention to what's going on with them in terms of their medication, in terms of their health care, in terms of some of their business plans or whatnot. We have to pay attention to that. We also have to pay attention to our kids. If they're still in school, if they're not in school, we still have to pay attention. I mean, I remember when my daughter was in school, in secondary school, how much group chat I had to be in. So there was a general school group chat. There was a chat for the year. So let's say Form 5 had a chat, and then there's a chat for the class, and there's a chat for the house that they're in, whatever sports house that they're in. There's a chat for if they're in there might be a chat for if your child in a group project. There might be a chat for whatever extracurricular that your child in as well that you have to keep up with. Can you imagine? And your mind, that one mind that still had to take care of your parents, take care of work, had to be processing all of that. So we definitely overstimulated. And then when you add in things like the keeping up with your social obligations, so your friends, knowing what's going on the news, recognizing that there are price changes, changes with taxes, changes with all kind of things going on. It's a lot. Even things going on in society, like in terms of in Grenada right now, we've had a lot of strange deaths, and all of these things impact the way we think and impact our emotions. Of course, our emotions are attached to how our brain works. So, and finally, the other reason why we might be feeling too tired to think is our hormones and our health. So, as it is for women, one of the most distinct symptoms of perimenopause is fatigue and brain fog. So it makes processing information and actually thinking a little more challenging than it normally would. And when you add on all the other things that I talked about that we're already dealing with, social media, social obligations, information, work, parent, kids, it is just a combustible set of conditions that we have to go through in our 40s. And I suspect men for the also have these challenges because our body just does not behave as it used to when we were in our 30s. And we have to respect our bodies for that because they've taken us through some really great decades. Okay. If you lived through the era of when Marshall Montano and Bungie Garlin and Destra Garcia and Mr. Killer and them were having pets in a long time. I could never speak bad about my boy because I'm talking about in the days when we used to have pets like 10 to 10 and then move to something else and go to the next place. And we just used to be on the ball, just going back to back to back. I could never in good conscience, no, talk about my body in any negative way. So let's talk about some ways we can help ourselves to feel less tired and more inspired as we move forward. So the first thing is to use technology for you. So yes, I just tell you that social media and using your phone too much can help you to feel tired, but we can use technology for us. So technology really and truly is anything that makes your life better. It's not necessarily electronics. So when you think of technology, I want you to think of systems. I want you to think of habits. I want you to think of routines that can support your life to make discipline and decision making easier. Use technology even in things like video conferencing. So just the other day, my mom fell sick, and at the time of the day that she fell ill, we were all at work. And if we were to leave work to get to her, because sometimes we would have to do that, it would have taken too much time. There was a funeral in the Grand Anse area, which means traffic would have been tight with all the road work that's going on. So the fastest thing was to call a neighbor, ask them to go with her to the doctor. And when she's at the doctor, we called in to the doctor office so we could have, asked whatever questions we need. You can tell me if what your experience has been, but I find that these parents tend to get a little stubborn as they get older. And sometimes you want to help, but you don't necessarily have all the information to help. And if you are able to like call into the doctor's appointment while they're there, if the doctor is okay with that, because not all doctors might want to do something like that, but you're able to ask the questions, get the information, and help to keep them on track. So that's just one way. And of course, because I know my audience are brilliant, creative, and strategic people, I know that you will find even more ways and you can use technology to help you to feel less tired and more inspired. Don't let technology work against you, right? It's here to help. The other thing is discipline. Look, we could walk all around the town. We could go from here to heaven. There's some things you cannot avoid. When it comes to having a life that is joyful, that is where you feel deeply connected to yourself and the people around you, where you recognize that you're able to take inspired action easily, it will require discipline. And discipline is more important than motivation because discipline is is when you do it regardless of how you feel. If you don't feel motivated, if you're feeling motivated, whatever, you're disciplined enough to do it. And it is really based on neuroplasticity. So we talk about this often. You just need to find ways to help your brain to think differently and for it to get used to making the changes that you need. So if you recognize that you're tired and you're uninspired, you have a lot going on, you have to take care of a lot of people, there's a lot of information coming through on social media. Can you do a fast from your social media? Can you put your phone to charge in a different room so you can get better sleep to improve yourself? These things will require discipline, but it will definitely change your life. And don't tell me, because I have noticed a trend where a few persons are saying, well, they don't need to have it all worked out and they don't need to have a plan. They don't need to plan everything in their life, every area in their life. I'm not saying that you have to have every area of your life planned. You must leave some things open to spontaneousness and to whimsy. That's all part of life. But to convince yourself that you don't need any plan at all is to convince yourself that you are okay with feeling. And people who think and speak like that, I recognize if you are going to do that, sis, it's going to lead to a point in your life where you're going to look around and see everybody's doing what they wanted to do, and you're going to get resentful. And the thing is, what I know for sure is for us to move forward in life, we must apply discipline. We get people applying discipline. Look, if you are paying attention, there's some hababaloo about a lady who is openly talking on Facebook about having done witchcraft for some people and she want her money to be paid for it, right? So one of my friends from school shares a lot of this on Facebook. So the 2 days a week that I go on Facebook, because I don't go on Facebook every day, but the 2 days a week I go on Facebook, I get to her links and I read it and I see what's going on. So there's this huge set of talk about this lady from Trinidad who says she do something and she want people to pay her and they're not paying her. In response to this, there are some other ladies who apparently offer the same services as this woman. Social media is rich, okay? They offer the same services as her. And they having a live talking about the things that she's saying means that she's not real because there's certain things that you must do and there's certain practices that you must have. I'm like, what in the whole hell? For me, the takeaway was because I love me a lesson. I learn from everything, and that saves me a lot, and it really does enrich my life. So what I took away from that is even in these dark arts, these people are disciplined. So the people who are involved in these things recognize that there must be a certain particular way that you must do things if you want results. I'm sure the people who go to them are willing to do it. But you out here, sit down, you want a better life. You're not willing to just take a simple step where you just try a few things to implement discipline. Discipline is one of the things where you start and it will just snowball into something else and you can continue doing it. But it will require effort and we can't go around that. You need discipline. If you want to feel less tired and more inspired, it will take some effort. And I believe that if you are if you make a habit out of it, if you cut something off or you add something on, and if you keep thinking in terms of systems and habits and routines, you will be able to find a way to help yourself to feel less tired and more inspired. And the final way I truly believe we can help ourselves to feel more inspired and less tired is to start with the truth. Like we live in a time of chaos and exaggerated truth. If you lived anywhere near the Caribbean in the last 2 weeks, you'd have seen that everywhere there was talk of this ice speed streamer who traveled the Caribbean like a wave of chaos and was highlighting, they say, Grenada and creating opportunities for Grenada. So they say. And perhaps this is true. But you know what I also noticed? That the way he presented was so chaotic and so much exaggerated truth. When I brought it up in conversation, some of the feedback that I got was, well, this is just how the person is. That's just how he presents. And people know and accept that about him. And that's all well and good. I don't have to accept it. If we're not very aware, it is really easy for us to slip into habits where we change the way we communicate. We change the way our culture is shaped. We change the pillars of things that we truly believe in. My culture is a very fluid thing. And so that what was important to our grandparents and the ways that they presented their speech and their food and their festivals is different from how we do it because there are different values that we consider as important right now. What is my concern when we have someone with this amount of star power, this amount of influence on our generations coming in and presenting with chaos and exaggerated truth because that whole biting and nutmeg thing is some bullshit. It's an exaggerated truth and people laugh. It's so funny, and I did not think it was. Is that gonna mean that we now have an open door for other people coming through with just exaggerating truths left unchecked? It could be that we now decide that chaos and exaggerated truth is a way that we're gonna always communicate. Now, I will continue to reject it. As for me and my house, it's not gonna be like that. But I'm telling you, we are being affected and infected with information every day. And this has an impact on how we feel and show up in the world. So the truth is one way for us to feel more inspired and less tired. And the way we do that is to not have people playing in our face, not eye speed, not somebody who lying to you or breadcrumbing you, not somebody who talking on both sides of their face, like they're talking to you good here now, and then they're talking with their friends about you in the same breath. Like all of these things, all of this chaos and exaggerated truth are ways that you undermine the energy that you need to build yourself. So you have to pay attention to that. Right. So these are the three things that I want us to consider. We know for us to remain in a main character era, we have to look at the problems that we have and find a real and tangible ways to work on them. And so one of the things is to use technology for you. Think of systems and habits, use the reminders, use video calls, automate as much things in life as possible. Then the other thing is discipline. Make sure that you recognize that you could fast from a few things. You could put your phone to bed at 10. You could create new habits. And finally, start with the truth. So a lot of the times our mind is full of information because a lot of the information that's being provided for us right now is chaotic and exaggerated truth. Whittle it down to the things that are facts. Stick with the facts. Okay, so that is it for tonight. I hope this served you all, and I will see you guys at the next episode. All right, let me know in the comments, how are you feeling right now? If you are feeling tired and a little uninspired, what do you do to help yourself to get back on track? I would love to hear more. All right, that's it, guys. Take good care. Remember, your joy is serious business. Have a beautiful night filled with joy. Bye.